My name is Christina Hildebrand, and I'm here on behalf of A Voice for Choice Advocacy. I thank Assemblymember Gloria's office for being open to having conversations about amendments that we've requested. I did send all of those to each of your offices as well. While we agree with the intention of this bill, which is to alert the public of communicable disease and ensure that it's addressed quickly and effectively as currently worded, this bill is overly broad and could result in the abuse of power. It gives unilateral blanket authority to the health officer to issue quote-unquote directives to other governmental entities within that jurisdiction to take any action the health officer deems necessary. It's that word any that we have an issue with. It also, in the amendments, make it even more broad that say that during an outbreak of communicable disease or upon imminent and proximate threat of a communicable disease, that action should be taken. An outbreak in California, and according to the CDC, is 3 people. An epidemic is 7 people. So let's just be clear. When we say outbreak, it's not hundreds of people. We're talking about 3 people. You're, as legislators, tasked with making laws that are narrowly tailored and specific. This bill is not, both from the action of their local health officer can demand and also from a fiscal responsibility. So this allows a health officer to take any action regardless of cost. You brought this bill forward in response to the hepatitis A outbreak in San Diego. However, the audit report makes it clear that this issue is not what action was actually happened, but how quickly and effectively that action was taken. This bill doesn't fully address that and instead gives the local health officer just more police powers. While we may believe that today's health officers would do the right thing, we've all lived in a time where we don't agree with the officials in power. California has a long record of medical abuse on its people, so what could this bill lead to? The separation of children and parents if they refuse medical treatment, quarantine of every member in a certain zip code. What would happen if an official who decided that the name of common good and protecting others, that they could metaphorically invade our bedrooms and mandate that everyone had protected sex so an STD epidemic doesn't spread? The legislature is tasked at drawing lines. This bill does not draw a line. To give a specific example, in the United Kingdom, where I grew up, there was a swine flu outbreak in 2009. There aren't the constitutional rights that we have, and so the solution was to simply vaccinate 6 million people in a program unprecedented for its scale and its size. It turns out that 1 in every 50,000 people who were given that vaccine, it caused an immune system to attack the whole clusters of their neurons in their brain. For people genetically predisposed, the vaccine actually triggers their own bodies to give their brains a partial lobotomy. Now, the best scientists in the UK studied this for 6 years, and in 2015, the British government again officially acknowledged publicly that it was true and that they expect to be paying hundreds of people over $1.5 million. That sum's not sufficient to compensate what happens to those people that had that effect. This bill may be more restrictive. This bill has to be more restrictive so that less intrusive but effective and quickly actionable policies are taken before the most restrictive and invasive ones are, and that it doesn't infringe on a person's fundamental constitutional rights. When dealing with something as precious as fundamental rights, it requires the legislature to be mindful of an equal ancient concept of hubris.
Thank you.
I have one more paragraph. We also believe we would like to have an amendment that ensures that after an outbreak, there is a post-outbreak analysis done by the health officer, which is equivalent to the audit that was done, so that the plan for a response should be amended in the future. And while we'll continue to work with the author's office, I understand this bill will be voted out of this committee, but we ask that you require the word any be substituted for something more narrowly tailored prior to passing it out of the committee, and that the health officer is responsible for a post-outbreak analysis. Thank you.
Thank you.